more than a dozen employees at the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office have now been ordered to sit for recorded interviews as county investigators look into whether they improperly accessed confidential and graphic files that were reportedly connected to the death of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. If investigators find county policies were violated, theoretically, those employees could face discipline, ranging from suspension to termination. If there's evidence of a crime, the matter could also be referred to law enforcement, though, to be clear, no criminal charges have been announced. And here's why this matters if you've been following this case. Early on in the investigation, the LAPD went to court to keep the medical examiner's records under seal. In fact, the request was so unusual that it drew pushback from the chief medical examiner before a judge ultimately granted the order. That's what's different. Celeste remains, we know, were found last September inside of an abandoned Tesla allegedly registered to pop singer David, whose legal name is David Anthony Burke. Prosecutors allege Burke murdered the teen, then tried to cover up the crime. He's pleaded not guilty, denies the allegations. His attorneys say they will vigorously defend his innocence. So what does this all mean for the case? Could the evidence get tossed out? Could the charges against David be affected in any way? I'm joined by Alexandra Kazarian, criminal defense attorney with Garagos and Garagos. I don't know what it means. Thanks, good to see you. I don't know what it means the ME's office didn't have access to LAPD files. What is that? Is that a comment? I don't know what that means.
That I've ever had. I always call the medical examiner and ask for a one-on-one interview so that I can talk to them outside of the context of a cross-examination. I don't ever want to, the first time to have a conversation with a witness, for it to be on the stand. So if somebody is willing to be friendly to me, I always call, and they always prepare themselves by looking at the file. So it doesn't really make sense to me that they wouldn't have access.
Well, here's the thing. Is there tension going on? I talked about it before. Is there tension between the LAPD and the ME's office about the sealing of the records? And remember, LAPD says they didn't want any information getting out before they could have an access to it. It's a very sensitive case, a lot of eyeballs. Is there some sort of tension I'm not aware of?
I mean, I don't have any inside information, but in my experience, medical examiners are not the most social people. And so I think anytime that somebody accuses them or makes kind of a innuendo that they're doing something wrong, I could see how an ME's office or an ME personally would take that very seriously and be offended.
So look, I think if you read between the lines, defense attorneys might plan to argue there's a difference of opinion in terms of cause of death. There's been a lot of questions about when he was arrested and when charges were filed. If it turns out that something improper happened here with medical examiner employees, how is this going to be used by David's attorneys in court?
Well, Jesse, the only evidence of her cause of death comes from the medical examiner because there is such a stretch between when she was found and when she passed, right? I guess I shouldn't say the only evidence because there's witness testimony that's coming in, but the only physical evidence is going to come from the medical examiners and how they are interpreting the information that they get from the body. So absolutely, if there's a problem with the chain of command, if there's a problem with the chain of custody, and if there is an allegation that somebody who wasn't authorized even accessed it, that can absolutely be a problem. In cases where there's a plethora of information about the cause of death, or there's a lot of different sources of information about how someone died, then I could see it not being a big deal that a lower level employee accessed it.
Let me just make sure I'm clear. Is there a possibility the judge could be so upset by what happened, and I'm theorizing here, that he tosses the medical examiner's findings out? They can't be used at a trial?
I don't think that they would toss. I mean, that would be unprecedented. I've never heard of a medical examiner's findings being, but I think that there could be a jury instruction that says, listen, take this with a grain of salt because we know along the line something was corrupted here. And that could be just as damaging, honestly, as throwing it out.
So what's going to happen now? They're being asked to sit for recorded interviews. Is there a criminal investigation? What happens next in the process, and when would we find out information about what happened with the ME's office?
If there was a criminal investigation pending, then they would have a Fifth Amendment right to remain silent, and I would imagine that any attorney advising them would have them do so. So I can only imagine that they've either been given immunity or they've been told that there is no criminal investigation. Because there is a penal code section that covers that. So at this point, if they're being forced to sit down for an interview, then that means that there's no criminal investigation pending.
And to be clear, we don't know definitively what this is all about, whether in fact it's 100% connected to David. But real quick, 30 seconds. He has a preliminary hearing, which we talked about what that means, July 21st. With everything going on here, could that be delayed now? I mean, there was court today. It didn't seem like that was going to happen.
Well, you know, an attorney's favorite answer always is it depends. I mean, these hearings can always be delayed for so many reasons and reasons that come up on the day of even. So could it? Absolutely. Sure.
All right. Well,
Would it? I don't think so.
Let's see what happens.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.